Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to check something new from Miniart. It's a T-55 kit, but this time it comes in modification 1970 with OMS H tracks, and it is molded still in 1/35 scale, but this is a completely new release which should be available in January and actually February. And now we have a chance to check it closer and see what is actually included here. So first of all, I have to note that box is huge. Here you can see comparison with my hand. Well, relatively huge, but it is heavy. And then on this side we have some information about the kit, address of the manufacturer in case you would like to visit them. Then here we have 6 marking options. So all of them are included into this kit, and that's really cool. It's not like some other kits which feature only 2 or 3 marking options. Now here we have 6 of them. That's a top opening box. We are going to open it in a second and we will take a look inside. In the meantime, let me remind you that you can support us financially. It is quite easy to do because we have special donate button on our website. And of course you decide how much you will send us, but be sure all this money will be used for new 14 video equipment or maybe for some kits which we can't afford otherwise. So here we have all plastic frames packed into a single plastic bag. Assembly manual is on the bottom, and all those sprues are really heavy. I mean, that's quite impressive, the amount of sprues and also their weight. And keep in mind that here we have the non-interior kit, so it means there is no internal detailing, and still it is quite heavy. And I mean, it is different from common plastic kits which we are used to have from Miniart even. Okay, so just give me a second to open it. Straight away we can say that parts count here should be crazy, and maybe that's why they stopped to print anything about the parts count, because otherwise you will be scared by how many parts included there. So you saw that I removed the clear parts and also special envelope. I would like to start with them. So here we have the sealed plastic bag with clear parts, and those are mainly the searchlight, also periscopes, and also here we have decals. So let's start with decals. These look quite strange in my opinion, because as you can see we have this slight white glazing on them, but I hope it will be easy to apply all the symbols. They are printed in decograph, and as you remember we have 6 marking options included here. Okay. Next we go on with clear plastic frame. This one looks like this. So here we have all transparent parts which will be needed for the tank assembly, and molding quality looks really great. Of course there are no masks included, so if you would like to mask them somehow you have to use your own masks cut with your own tools. I'm not sure if there are aftermarket set available for this kit. I think not, so you have to work a bit here. Next we have quite large envelope with Miniart logo, so as you can guess here we get the P fret, and it is quite huge. Here you can see it. It is unpainted P fret, so all necessary parts will be used for external and internal equipment. Be ready to work with tweezers, because as you can see some of those elements are really tiny. Even though this is a 1/35 scale, still you won't be able to pick them up with bare fingers. And I'm not even talking about placing them with bare fingers, because it will be quite a, I would say, experience. You will learn a lot of new words while doing this, so better to avoid it and use the necessary tools. Next we go on with gray plastic frames. Now I need to remove them somehow because it's quite a tight packaging. So here we have first gray plastic frame. Let's zoom out a bit so that you can see. Here it is. So what do we have here? The lower hull section, it's actually the bottom, the side shelves, also here we have the ammo storages, the main gun parts, the mud guards, and also some parts for the storage boxes. Molding quality looks really great. I mean, here we don't have anything to note. It's a typical Miniart quality, so it should be easy to work, and it should look good in the finished state. Next we go on with another gray plastic sprue. this one again carries some of the hull parts. Here we have the side panels for the lower hull panel. Also here we have the internal wall, tarp, folded, various hatches and covers for the stowage boxes, again mud guards here, some of the suspension parts. Everything looks nice. I don't see any flash on these parts. We can even zoom in so that you can see those parts closer. Well, at least those which are placed in the middle, because they're smaller than the ones which are placed on both ends. And I mean, I hope you count the parts which we get on the sprues, because even these two sprues already brought a quite wide amount of various elements. So keep it in mind, and obviously not all of them will be used, because for example here again we get the lower hull panels, side panels. Here we also get the glacis plates, the top hull cover, some of the turret parts, even thin ring, which will be quite fun to separate because of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 attachment points. And be ready for this. As usual, I recommend to use the plastic saw instead of the plastic cutters, because otherwise you end up with damaged ring. Here we go on with turret parts. So these are separate segments of the turret, because turret here should be glued out of several panels. So I mean, it's not as scary as it sounds, but you have to assemble separate parts altogether. Next we go on with turret main section. Here it is. As you can see, this is a quite nice looking part. And we even have the casting surface carefully replicated here. I can zoom in so that you can see it. Here it is. Let's focus the camera. I hope it will focus. Yeah, now you should be able to see it. So here we have some casting texture. I think some modders will appreciate it, because we are giving it out of the box. You won't have to do anything extra. And here you can see what we have inside. There are some spots for the inner let's say components, but those parts are not included here because this is non-interior kit, so don't worry about this. Next we go on with another portion of turret parts, again top sections, and also here we have the mounted cover. Let's move on. Next we start, actually not yet, because on the bottom we have a lot of similar plastic frames, but here you can see the frame with stowage boxes. So each stowage box should be assembled out of separate panels which should be combined together. And here you can see them from another side. We have special guiding elements. It means recessed edges, which should help you with proper alignment of these panels together. So it should be relatively easy work to do, but of course I would recommend not to hurry with this in order to avoid funny results, let's say. Next we go on with main barrel. Here it comes as a one-piece element molded out of plastic, which is really cool. And of course some modders will replace it with metal, but I mean, even out of the box version should look good. As you can see, it is bored inside, so really nice addition to this kit. Next we go on with glacis plate. Here it is. Also various thin parts for the headlamps protection as far as I can guess, but we will have to check the assembly manual. And I'm not sure why these are not replicated with PE parts, maybe because Miniart decided to mold them as a plastic parts, but I mean, it might be a bit tricky to handle all those thin bits, and especially to install them on your model. Next we go on with pair of identical plastic frames. Here you can see them, two absolutely similar plastic frames, so we can zoom out and check them from both sides. Here we have drive sprockets and idlers as well, so you have to combine two pieces together. We also have the suspension arms here. Everything looks completely fine, and we have special let's say design which will help you to align these drive sprocket halves together. Okay, next we go on with two more, actually 1, 2, 3, I think we have more of them, 4, 5, 4, 5, give me a second, because it's deep in the box, so I'm trying to remove them all. and here are them all. So all those are storage boxes for the machine gun ammo, and of course you will have to deal with this somehow. To assemble all those boxes. It might look a bit tedious, but it is not as tedious as what you will see further in the review. Here, by the way, here we have the spare tracks and some of the turret parts. Again, this thin part will require due attention. Here you can see that we also have the internal detailing as well. Okay, next we have sprue of one type, that's suspension parts here. So I'll remove them all. Here's another one more, and I'm not sure if we have more of this. No, that should be all. So we have the 3 plastic frames with the similar set of parts. All those parts will be used for the suspension. Again, we have thin parts here, so be ready to work with those parts. It will require some time. And especially I recommend not to hurry with this, because they tend to break easily, and then it will be even more funny thing to do is to repair them. Here we have several small frames. I'm not sure where they will be used, I guess on the suspension, on the lower hull part, but we will check it in assembly manual. Next we go on with 2 similar plastic frames. These come for the external equipment, obviously. And note this special part, which will be used for the searchlight as far as I remember, but I mean, we will check it in assembly manual as well. Okay, next here we get again the ammo boxes. These are slightly different, so they will be used as well. Here you can see them from another side. Okay, next we go on with these small frames. Well, these are various minor elements for fine detailing of your kit. Few tanks will be copied with help of those 2 frames. As you can see, each barrel should be glued out of several pieces. And I mean, here I have nothing to add to this. They look completely fine, so it's just a matter of careful painting, maybe adding some weathering to these parts, because they deserve some proper weathering to be done on them. Next we go on with storage boxes. Here you will have to combine 2 hulls together, and in the meantime I'll try to remove another plastic sprue. So we have 3 more here. Here they are. Here we get various parts for the towing cable, also some minor handles. And that looks like a lot of stuff to glue on the model. Definitely you spend some time doing this. So funny time ahead, guaranteed. Here we have also this sprue. I guess we had this before. Another one with the ammo boxes. You familiar with it? Next we go on also with another one here and another one here. These are Pioneer tools, and also ammo boxes again. Okay. Next we go on with more plastic frames. Here you can see another storage box. It's quite impressive amount of parts, seriously. We are it is 13 minutes in the video review, and we are still not even at the half of this kit. I mean, that's some serious stuff to do. I mean, there are no other words. I'm quite impressed. Here we have also the drive sprockets and idlers in a different version. They are supplied in 2 plastic frames. I guess what is even more impressive is the amount of the sprues, because they are not provided on one single plastic frame, they are provided on separate frames, so you will have to deal with it. I mean, you will have to make sure not to lose any of them, and etc, etc. So next we go on with this large plastic frame. Here we get the foam wrapping, which should protect some fine parts here. Why? Because this cover, it has the thin legs which will be attaching straight away on the model. Also here we have parts for the searchlight, so these ones are used. Here we have some parts for the engine deck and a lot of attachment points here. Oh wow. Okay, next, that's not all. And don't even think about the assembly manual, because here we have another plastic bag, and this one full of the narrow plastic frames. It is sealed plastic bag, so I need a scissors in order to open it, and we will take a closer look in a second. T-55 kits from Miniart, they're really impressive in this aspect, I would say. So I do not recommend these kits to beginners who are not confident, or modelers who are not confident in their skills, because otherwise you end up with some funny time assembling all this stuff together. It's not as easy as it might look to be, and of course it will require some patience as well. So here we have another hull panels, and as well as the turret panels, hatches here. Let's zoom in a bit, so now we should be able to see it. Next we go on with one more plastic frame with Pioneer tools and also side storage boxes. And what else? I guess that's more or less the finishing line, but we have to remove one really wide plastic frame and also some of the suspension parts, because they're provided on small frames. So here you can see another one, and I guess here those panels will be combined. Let me zoom out. So those panels will be combined with the one we saw a second ago. Next we continue with special frame with road wheels. So here it is matter of combining two road wheels together. Here you can see them closer. Let's flip it over. Here you can see it from another side. Next this model, it has the separate track links. So just like it wasn't enough to have such a huge amount of parts, Miniart decided to include also separate track links, and I'm trying to remove several other plastic frames. So here we have suspension arms, separate track links, and another thin frame with various small parts for the lower hull section. These tracks look really good. I mean, obviously they're more impressive in appearance in comparison with manual parts, but it will be a tedious process to do. There is no assembly jig included, there is no, let's say, template which will help you, so you will have to do everything with your own hands. And it looks like we are done with plastic frames. Now we can move on to the assembly manual, which is not as thin as you might think it to be. Here we have a lot of stuff to do. So this is a typical Miniart brochure. We have color print here, short list of the features. All hatches can be opened here, is written. Markings for, actually decals for 6 markings, of course individual track links, and workable torsion bars. So if you would like to replicate some specific position, you are free to do this. Here we have marking guide. That's the first marking option from early 1980s. That's the second marking option from 1982 June. Here we have parts map, and it's not written which parts won't be used, so you will know it afterwards. Assembly starts with lower hull section and also road wheels. Next we continue with the suspension arms and torsion bars. Here we install various external elements for the side panels of the lower hull section. Then we continue by installing all this stuff together with the bottom of this tank. Next we install the top armor panels, and we continue with, what is this? I guess these are headlamps. Also we install various visors. Here we start working with PE as well, and note what you will have to do. A lot of ribs to install all together on one plane, and that's funny stuff. Here we continue with side shelves. I'm a bit confused because here we combine several Pioneer tools all together. Actually, you have to place them all around. That's the part which was covered with foam. Then here we continue with storage box, more storage boxes on opposite side. Next is a mud guard here. We continue with those storage boxes and spare tracks on one side. And quite a lot of parts, I mean PE parts to apply, small ones, so be sure to keep track of them, not to miss any of those elements. Next we install road wheels into the place. Here we assemble tracks, obviously, so each track link will contain the 90 tracks. Here we work on the fuel drums. That's the towing cables. You have to source your cable, so be ready for this. Have some metal wire. Next is a machine gun, because it will be placed on the turret as far as you can guess. We assemble the turret here. And next we go on with various hatches. So there are several hatches variants different for each marking option, so be careful about it. Next we continue with more of P parts. Here we assemble the searchlight, another one here, so you have the choice between them two. Next we install the tarp on the rear side, machine gun is here, and the final step is to place the turret on the tank. Whoa. Next here we continue with various... I'm not even sure what is this. If you know, write in the comment section below. I guess these are some radars or visors. Next here we have third marking option. It comes from 80s. Another one from 1991. Another one, the Peruvian Army 2010. And the last one is from the Kurdish Peshmerga tank, Battle of Mosul 2016. Might be an interesting option to copy. So, quite impressive set, I would say. Definitely not a beginner's delight, so if you're not confident in your skill, do not even think about it. But in my opinion, you can get a really decent copy of this tank in 1/35 scale, and price is more or less reasonable. I mean, it is comparable with main rivals on the market. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about this kit here in the comment section below. If you like this video, don't forget to press the like button and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.